Do you ever stare at the ceiling and think about the things that you can do? Do you have dreams but are so afraid that you might not be good enough for them? Do you have problems stepping out of your comfort zone? Are you always thinking that you are not good enough? If so, watch this video because this is about becoming who you really are and kicking out the fear in your system. Welcome to our Power of You YouTube channel. Here, we strive to make learning engaging, accessible, and fun for viewers. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started. Most individuals are reluctant to be who they truly are. They are hesitant to acknowledge the aspects of themselves that others might find unacceptable, since doing so would make them uncomfortable. So, they separate themselves into conscious and unconscious parts in order to get away from this feeling of discomfort. They create an idealized image of themselves in their conscious self, one made out of experiences from the past that they consider to be positive and acceptable. Because of this, individuals subconsciously hide the aspects of themselves that they consider undesirable and harmful. The basic principle of Carl Jung's theory is the conviction that every person has a natural capacity for development, self-awareness, and self-realization. Carl Jung is one of the most influential figures in the field of psychology and psychoanalysis. He believed the human mind was a complex, dynamic system of conscious and unconscious components. Remember those questions I asked you earlier? Well, our fears get stored between the conscious and unconscious, known as the subconscious, and can eventually go into the unconscious, making it difficult to know why we stop ourselves from doing the very thing we think we wish to do. Let's get back to Dr. Jung. Jung believed that the process of becoming who you are meant to be involves confronting and integrating the various aspects of your personality, including those that may be hidden or suppressed. This suppressed part of psychology is referred to as the shadow in Jungian psychology. The shadow stands for the unconscious, hidden and frequently suppressed elements of a person's psychology. It comprises all the characteristics, aspirations, feelings, and urges that a person does not completely embrace or admit about oneself. These elements can be ones that the person considers objectionable, inappropriate in society, or ethically doubtful. A person can never realize their full potential until the shadow is integrated into their mentality, which means, for example, we have to embrace our fears, uncertainties, and doubts by seeing what they are. If not, one will constantly be divided, imperfect, and partial, living a life of regret rather than the whole life that might have been. Imagine, for instance, that I know a lot about science and have convinced myself that I'm a brilliant scientist. I might run into a few people and they might tell me they have a science club. Every weekend, they get together to tackle some of science's hardest subjects. This concerns me because if I join, I won't be able to get the great scientist that I've convinced myself I am. Running from my shadow and letting it grow bigger is the first thing I need to do. Since I am aware of my personal weaknesses in science, I refuse to join the science club. I am able to cling to the idealized picture of myself as a brilliant scientist, but I miss the chance to actually achieve that goal. My shadow must be encountered and integrated as the second action. When I joined the science club, I came to the realization that I am not the brilliant scientist I always believed I was. This has an immediate negative effect. I learned that I am quite excellent at biology, but not very good at physics. I become measured by my colleagues. Among other scientists, I do have a position and a rank. Although I now recognize that I'm not the brilliant scientist I once believed myself to be, I have opened up the potential of truly becoming one. My rank and talents can truly go up. In the end, this is the wisest choice I've ever made. You see, we sometimes want to be pure potential. We tell ourselves that we could be anything we want to be, but we don't really try to be anything. We only comfort ourselves with the idea that we might be something if we choose to. This is because when we strive for something, we begin to feel like we matter. We are assessed and categorized. We are substantial and measurable. And compared to our idealized imagination, this actual reality is frequently less enjoyable to live in. But it's not a dream, it's reality. And although reality may always be better, living in imagination always results in disaster. Here's another example. I have a friend. His name is Mark. He is a talented artist with a passion for painting. Ever since he was a child, he had dreamed of becoming a professional artist and showcasing his artwork to the world. However, as he grew older, Mark developed an overwhelming fear of failure and rejection. Deep down, Mark longs to attend prestigious art schools and exhibit his paintings in galleries, but his fear of not being good enough holds him back. He worries that if he puts his art out there, it will be met with criticism and judgment, leaving him feeling vulnerable and exposed. Instead of acknowledging his fears and working through them, Mark chooses to suppress his goals of becoming a professional artist. He convinces himself that it's better to keep his passion as a private hobby, rather than face potential disappointment. However, Mark's unconscious longing to pursue his artistic dreams doesn't disappear. In moments of vulnerability or during periods of introspection, he still feels the pull of his suppressed goals, causing internal conflict and turmoil. He tried to take the leap and overcome his fear. He comes to understand that rejection and failure are part of the human experience and don't define his worth as an artist or as a person. With newfound self-compassion, he decides to take a leap of faith and start showcasing his artwork at local galleries and online platforms. And that's the key. Self-acceptance is the first step on the road to personal development. The concept of embracing one's fears, anxieties, and doubts is necessary for personal development and self-actualization. It is about overcoming the limitations imposed by society's conditioning and the ego and realizing one's actual potential. It might be challenging to accept the aspects of ourselves that we reject or fear, yet doing so is necessary to live a more genuine and satisfying life. We can only realize our full potential by accepting and integrating our shadow, by accepting the undesirable aspects of who we are, and by being what we are frightened to be. But suppose we ignore our shadow and choose to accept the aspects of our background, personality, and behavior that we find appealing while suppressing the aspects of ourselves we find threatening. In that case, we end up being incomplete and imperfect. We live a life filled with regrets rather than one that is complete. However, deciding whether you'll accept or reject your shadow is up to you. The most challenging question that I have for you today is this: would you prefer victory in your imagination or failure in real life? It's up to you to decide. But if I were you, I would step up and actually start being what I thought I could be. It may be painful and you might feel like you're a failure, but in the end, you'll learn. Making improvements, overcoming your fear is freeing. You are learning to kick out your fear and embrace your growth and being more of who you are meant to be. And that's our video for today. What do you think about becoming who you are afraid to be? Let us know in the comments section below. If you love similar videos like this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.